I keep saying it over and over again. If you don't build indestructible foundations, then you don't even have to think about becoming a confident improviser. Why? Because it's like building a house. You cannot start putting in the windows and doors if you don't even have the walls set on a super solid foundation that is not moving. So don't put your foundation of your lead guitar playing on sand and do this instead. Hi, my name is Ulrich, and in my own path of playing lead guitar for 25 plus years on 3 continents with thousands of shows, I've picked up a few things that have been proven to be very, very useful. And I've taught these things to hundreds of my students inside of my total guitar transformation with the intention to give them a path that is very practical, stage related, and is not getting stuck in any complicated theory concept or any kind of scale, pattern studies, and just boring technical exercises, to be honest. So instead, today, I want to point you back to taking your pentatonic chord vocabulary that every guitarist builds. You know, we start playing licks in A minor, probably. But today, I want to take you a step deeper and help you to refine that chord vocabulary where you can actually start using it more freely and with more intent. By the end of this session, you should be able to put your licks into little baskets. I call them archetypes, and be able to organize your lick vocabulary where you can willingly switch back and forth between different types of licks that you probably can already play, but by organizing them, you can actually create different textures within your pentatonic vocabulary. And the goal is to not have you sound repetitive and stale ever again. So let's go. I'm going to demonstrate this first here over an A minor drone, because most of us, let's face it, learn the licks in A minor. So let's do that first. And then I'm going to show you the archetype concept. So here we go. Okay, can you tell how all the licks that I played here are somewhat related? Yeah, that's right. They all start with this element, right? Now, this is a very, very famous lick that I chase track to Chuck Berry. You probably know this one, right? Yes, this is just right out of the Chuck Berry playbook. And this is an important lick that, you know, you have to remember that all those players, all the legendary classic rock, blues rock lead players like Gilmour, Hendrix, Clapton, so they were all raised on Chuck Berry. They all listened to him at some point. So then Hendrix went and did this, you know, or played stuff like this, while Gilmour went and did this. You know, it just made a little more melodic, basically, but this... Just think of the beginning of the solo of Another Brick in the Wall. This lick reappears all over the place on Gilmour's body of work. Yes, so what else? Then blues guys play a variation like this, you know. without that much bending, but still the same idea basically. Yeah? So I call this the Archetype 1. This is really like the home base of rock and blues guitar playing. It's in our main box, pentatonic box, and we're basically using the trick of using the double notes hitting the same notes twice, once as a fretted note, then as a bend note, twice in a row, right? Yeah, so if you've never thought about this lick or this whole group of licks, then I want to change that for you today. And this is just one of 5 archetypes that I teach in my layered lead guitar method. This is part of our TGT Academy framework that I teach all my students, and you can get this ebook down here below in the comments. But let's not get stopped right here. I want to show you how you can implement these licks over backing track. Before I do though, I want to show you a second archetype that's going to be super useful, and I call this the sidestepping lick. Yes, so on the sidestepping lick, I'm literally just stepping aside one string. Instead of playing the pentatonic just up and down, I'm playing this sequence. It's a fantastic texture. So what I'm going to do next here is I'm going to use that sidestepping archetype, and I'm going to combine it with what I call the Chuck Berry archetype. I'm just going to use those two and combine them into a solo over an A minor backing track. Fantastic. Now the genius thing for me is that, this backing track wasn't really what I would call traditional blues or traditional old school rock music. And yet these archetypes come straight out of Hendrix's vocabulary book. Most of these licks I discovered through Hendrix. And so it shows you how universal an old school lick vocabulary can be if you learn how to use it in different rhythmic context with different phrasings and subdivisions, but still using the old phrasing archetypes that guys like Hendrix or Gilmour laid down for us. And just before I forget, I need to mention this because it's very important. All these archetypes and all the archetype study that you're doing is completely useless if you cannot bend in tune and have a decent vibrato. Why do I need to say it like this? It's like just, so many, even of my students, when I start working with them, they don't realize how important the bending technique is and a correct execution of that. If that is one of your problems, we need to sit down and I need to show you a few things. You can start with downloading the book, but you just need to be able to hit a note and then bend up to it and have it match the note just exactly. If you can't do this reliably and mute all your string noises, then you're always gonna have a problem. Just so important to mention, please work on your intonation of your bends and your vibrato every day. So I hope that this was a useful insight into organizing your pentatonic vocabulary. I want to invite you to check out all 5 archetypes. And for that, I want you to just download my LLG method book, where you're gonna have actually a full overview of 25 licks that are assigned to the 5 archetypes, where you can really start to study your core vocabulary like never before. In this sense, keep on rocking and watch this lesson over the next lead guitar layer next.